that we're investigating, his fall, will become what will result. And these guys, they served God at some point, but through principles. And these principles that they adopted was drawn from appetites that were not submitted to God. And those appetites became the platform of a new civilization in deviation from God's expectation. See, the extent to which God can move and continue to move in your life is the degree to which you are submitted to his will. That thing called the will of God is a big matter. Don't stray away from it. The way to judge your compliance in kingdom things is the will of God that your life is administering. If your life wanders away from that crucible, you become an enemy of God without knowing it. You become an enemy of God and you are yet speaking in tongues. Lucifer was the light bearer, but he fell because his will was occasioned against what? The will of God. May you not desire success much more than to please God. May you not desire it. Because these days, the demarcation is no longer clear. You see pastors boasting about buildings. Building. You talk, okay, let's listen to, he's talking about a building that it was. Now, go to the New Testament, you will discover that there was no building project. Now, the question is, was it an omission? The fact that you could build something is not an indication of the fact that there's revival. Meanwhile, we need buildings because we need to be delivered from the elements. But the fact that we were able to secure a building is not a proof that God's kingdom has been established. It's not a proof. Because a building is a tool. Just like your computer is a tool. You have a computer, does that mean you have finished work? You just have a tool that will help you do what you are employed to do. This building is a tool. A tool cannot be an end. A tool is a means. So we cannot start boasting about buildings. In fact, if you are boasting about buildings, it means you have lost sight of the goal. That's why you are in transit and you are boasting. It's very easy for you to veer off, and it is predicated on wrong appetites, and that's why we'll need to test our hearts again and again to see if we're still in line. Especially when we begin to become prominent, we start becoming financially buoyant, and you can do so many things without having to pray. You are on a slippery ground. Yes, because you can fight God conveniently. You have ability, you have resources. As you grow in God, as you grow and God gives you the grace to enter into levels of influence, make sure that you go back to God and inquire to find out what that influence was supposed to be wielded to achieve, so that at every point in time you are within the scope of the will of God. This creature fell because he decided to poise his will against the will of God. There is one item among the I wills I would like to draw your attention to. Which is in verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the heavens. Now you may not appreciate what that reading holds until we investigate how many times the word ascend was used in that progression of revelation. Can we attempt it? What's the first time? I will ascend into heaven. Now it means he was not in heaven because he had to. Oh, you're not with me. He wasn't. If you go to the book of, I believe, is it Jeremiah? Yeah, I believe it's Jeremiah chapter 4. And the Bible revealed to us how that Lucifer was the guardian of the mineral earth. That was a civilization before man was created. You know that earth that was without form and was void, the reason why that earth was like that, it wasn't like that originally. It was judgment that came from God that made it like that. Wait, you don't believe me, so let me see if I can still get my old scriptures. I pray the Lord will guide my hand. I think it is in Jeremiah chapter 4, I believe. Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 23. Let me see. Great. Give me Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 23. There were some studies I did those days. Then we now packed from my small house to a small but bigger house. And some of my my diaries didn't make it. I beheld the earth, this Jeremiah speaking, and lo, it was without form and void. Do you remember this? I know you do. And the heavens, and they had no light. Do you remember this? Okay, next verse. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. Yeah? I beheld, and lo, there was no man. So this era was before the season of men. And all the birds of the heavens were fled. Yeah. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness. And all these cities were not human cities. These cities were angelic cities. I don't have time for. I've done those research before, but I told you that the diary did not make it to. The fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord at his fierce anger. So there was a judgment that took place. The effect of that judgment is what led to the scenario that we see in Genesis chapter 1. Are you there? So the warden of the earth, the one that was in charge of the earth then in that civilization, was Lucifer. So Lucifer was a guardian of the earth. Do you still remember when God are you there? All right. So the heaven is a very vast landscape. But whenever you read the Bible and you see that Satan still visits heaven, you calm down. It's not the entire heaven he visits. It's a court of heaven he visits, because he's a lawyer. He has to participate in his law practice in the court of heaven. That's where he visits. Bear that in mind. All right, so the Bible reveals that once upon a time, the sons of God were gathered before the Lord, and Satan he came to court that day. So God now left the procession that was taking place because there was a court case. The issue on ground was Job. It was God that presented the case file and said, have you considered Job? Notice that when Satan was asked, it's been long ago. How far? He said he has been journeying through the earth, walking up and down and to and fro in it. Stop there. The motion is up and down, to and fro. That's the same motion he had whenever he ascends into Zion. Because if he ascends into Zion, he walks up and down and to and fro in the midst of the coals of fire. It is that motion that makes him glow, and that's how he got that nickname, the light bearer. Every other angel in his own Kedar has the name of God attached to them. Michael, E-L, Michael of El Elyon. Gabriel, L, Gabe of El Elyon. His own name was Lucifer. God knew he would fall, so he did not you are not fall. You are not fall. God knew. He knew he would fall, so he didn't secure him with his name. Are you there? So he walks up and down, he walks to and fro in the midst of the coals of fire. It was in that fire he glows. And that's why he was called Lucifer. So he knows Zion because he used to go there. Meanwhile, he operates from. Is you get it? So the first I will ascend is to ascend into heaven. It means there were other options of places to go, but this guy says, my dream is to go where? And I need to tell you why he had to ascend into heaven. Come with me. Let me show you one word. Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Are you there? Because of time, I'll just go straight to the scripture. Verse 4 is my scripture of interest. Meanwhile, I will assume that you have read 1, 2, 3. That's when the 4 will make sense. And the reason why I brought you to 4, just leave the scripture on the screen. The reason why